Well, hey, welcome to Neighborhood Moment. I'm Charles Mann, and we're here at City Hall. We're going to talk to Planning and Development Services. We're going to go talk to Steve Atkinson, a planner there. He's going to explain to me how the projects work in the city of Tacoma. Let's go meet Steve. Steve!
Hey Charles, great to see you.
Thank you for meeting me. I appreciate this. This is the permit place?
Yeah, it's Planning Development Services. I appreciate you coming down to the municipal building and visiting us today.
Excellent, excellent. Are we going into your office?
Yeah, we'll take a little tour of the department and kind of introduce you around.
Excellent. Let's head out.
All right. Well, Charles, welcome to Planning and Development Services, getting a little bit of a behind-the-scenes look. So this is where all of our staff are located here at the city. We're at the third floor of the municipal building. So we are a public floor, so anyone can come on up to the permit center and talk to staff here at the city.
That's great, Steve. Actually, my first question is, what does Planning and Development Services do?
We are really in charge of managing how development happens in the city of Tacoma. So most people interface with us when they want to build something, or they want to replace a roof, they need to do plumbing or mechanical work. If you want to build your dream home, you're going to come to the permit center to go through that permit process. We'll walk people through that. We want to make sure that people are doing work according to the laws and regulations of the city of Tacoma, and then we inspect that work to make sure it's been done accordingly. We also work on kind of where you can build that apartment and where you can build that housing, and that's where the zoning and land use policy of the city comes into play.
That's very interesting. What kind of projects are going on in the central neighborhood?
The projects that I think about for Central Neighborhood Council tend to be things like the urban design program. So we have a major initiative happening right now to think about building quality and design, ensuring that as new development happens in the city, that it's fitting in within the context of the neighborhoods. And that's a citywide effort, but we want to be cognizant of how development in Central and the neighborhoods there might be different than development that happens somewhere else in the city. The other longer term project that I'd highlight is the discussions on the link extension. So in ST3, one of the projects that was highlighted there was a extension of the light rail that would go from downtown to Tacoma Community College.
The extension planning is happening now.
It is not happening currently, but as we start to get closer to the planning for that light rail system, we would start to look at the land use planning around the transit station. So the thought is to do that planning on the land use side in conjunction with the transit planning.
How do the people in the central neighborhood get involved with the development, the planning, the strategy?
So there's kind of multiple ways, and it depends on what people's interests are. So when we're doing a long-range planning initiative, that's the point in the process. So we are having conversations about policy, about capital planning, about zoning or land use. That's when people have, I think, the greatest opportunity to participate in those processes, to really affect the outcome of then what can be built, how can it look, what standards and rules does it need to follow. As you start to then move into permitting and construction, we do significant outreach there, but what we are focusing on is not whether the zoning is correct, but what we're focusing on at that point is what's the local knowledge that people have in that neighborhood that might inform how a development project happens, and then what are some of the impacts that the development might be having on the community around it, and how can we try to mitigate those impacts and have that development project fit within the neighborhood.
And the place that the people that can interface with the planners is at the beginning in that strategic kind of comprehensive plan level, or the zoning amendment or the zoning discussions. Is that where they plug in?
So we usually do outreach to the neighborhood councils. We do postcard mailings, TV Tacoma advertisements, advertisements in the newsroom, just to try to get information out about what we're doing. So that's kind of the first step in our process, is people need to know what's happening before they can understand then how to get involved in it. So getting that information out and then helping people understand where in the process the key decisions are and how they can get involved in weighing in on those key decisions. So in our long-range planning processes, we work with the Planning Commission, which is a citizen group. We do scoping hearings at the beginning of that process. We conduct public hearings throughout. But we also love to get out to neighborhood councils and neighborhood meetings to talk about the work that we're doing.
We appreciate that, actually. We appreciate you coming to our council frequently. So I think that actually explains highlights the things that I think are important. for the planning and development services. That's very nice. Thanks, Steve. I really appreciate you taking the time to explain that to me today. Well, that's a wrap of this episode of Neighborhood Moment. Thanks for tuning in. We hope to see you around the neighborhood. You can like, subscribe, or leave some comments for us, and we'd appreciate it. Thank you.